And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Matthews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota, Gulf Coast Business Supply, and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such an amazing place to live, work, and play. Hey, I have a great special guest today. We'll get to our special guest here in just a second. And as I promised yesterday, I want to share another lesson that we get from our Coast Vue guests. But I want to start with this. Mark Twain once said this: keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great make you feel you too can become great. I mean, those are pretty wise words from Mark Twain. I don't think he could have said it any better. You know, when I look back on my career in media, I'm struck by the number of people who entered my life along the way who encouraged me, who pushed me to reach higher, who really enabled me with more responsibility along the way. I had a wonderful journey, but it was all about they kept giving me bigger assignments that at times maybe I didn't think I could accomplish, but they knew I could. I was fortunate to have mentors like that in my life. And they taught me well. They especially taught me to focus more on the people around me, to surround myself with successful people. They often saw things in me I didn't see in myself. That's the role of a great mentor. They were positive and constructive and encouraging and giving. The sky was the limit, they would say. They were great leaders. As Mark Twain said, the really great among them make you feel that you too can become great. Well, last week I shared one of the emerging lessons we get from our Coast Vue guests, one about not dwelling on the past, using it as fuel for the future. This week I want to share with you another lesson about focusing on the inspiration around you, something that I call inspiration fuel. My guests on Coast Vue have a lot of very positive qualities. These are the things that help make them successful. And so there's a lot to learn from them. But one of the things that you will see in them is a deep understanding of the role that positive thinking plays in their lives. They covet inspiration from people around them, positive people around who make them better people, who make them better leaders. And in turn, this is one of the things that help them become more successful people. They are keenly aware, incidentally, and they work harder than most to steer away from people who have a negative influence on them. They actively seek inspirational fuel and are committed to constantly improving because they did not just arrive. Like I said yesterday, they had crap jobs along the way, just like we all had. But they were driven by a desire to get better. They were driven by a desire to be better. Okay, here's an important question. Are the people around you inspiration fuel, or are they what I call Delta gumbo people? For anyone who's been to the Mississippi Delta, you already know this, but there's something really special about Delta gumbo. It's a special kind of sticky mud. Someone once said that it unleashes a muddy fiasco. Does that describe any of the people around you? A major lesson we get from the people who have been on Coast Vue is that they're not only keenly aware about the impact people around them have on them, but they deeply understand and appreciate that as human beings, we need other people, and we need other people on so many different levels. So they're consciously looking for inspiration fuel from others. Now, inspiration fuel can come from different sources at any time. When I was growing up, I remember early in my career, I'd look at people like Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins and Norman Vincent Peale and Napoleon Hill and Stephen Covey and Dale Carnegie. The list really goes on and on. But I was always focused on finding and filling my mind with inspiration, that as much inspiration as I could find. Today, you actually have YouTube and podcasts. You have Coast Vue. You have Coast Vue every morning here on SuperTalk Gulf Coast. But there's so many different ways to find inspiration fuel. I often listen, for example, to Joe Rogan in the mornings while I'm working out. But people you choose to have around you at work, or the people you choose to have around you when you're not working, these are the people who will ultimately have the greatest impact and influence on you, whether it's negative or positive. How much do you think about inspiration fuel? I want to close with this. This is a friend of mine, Susan Griggs, posted this. It's a quote from Rick Godwin, and here's what it says. One reason people resist change is because they focus on what they had to give up instead of what they had to gain. What do you have to gain from focusing more on surrounding yourself with positive people, or by focusing more on inspiration fuel? As we have learned well from my guests on Coast Vue, the sky really is the limit. And I really appreciate them kind of sharing those lessons with us. So now on to our special guest today. He's definitely inspiration fuel. You're about to see why. He believes more than anyone I know that the sky is the limit for Mississippi. He's actually an economic developer. He's the CEO of the Golden Triangle Development Link. That's the regional development organization for Mississippi's Golden Triangle, which is Starkville, West Point, and Columbus, Mississippi. He served in that capacity since 2003, but here's one of his many important philosophies in life. Live every day like your ass is on fire. Without any further ado, let me bring on my special guest, Joe Max Higgins. Hey, Joe Max, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
For the radio audience, he's literally holding up a sticker that says, live every second as if your ass is on fire. You really believe that, don't you, buddy?
Yeah, because if you don't, the world will leave you pretty quick.
Things are moving pretty fast. Hey, man, you heard my comment about Delta Gumbo people. You know about Delta Gumbo, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a special kind of mess, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. We've got our version here in the Golden Triangle, and a guy that used to work for me said, he talked about the mud out there, and he said, you know what they say? And I said, no, Charlie, what do they say? And he said, you stick with it, and it'll stick with you.
Well, look, I've seen it take down $1 million tractors, and if you let it build up on tires, it will literally break an axle. And I think that's a sort of a good comparison to negative people in your lives and how they can bring you down. You don't tolerate negative people, do you?
No, we try to stay focused. We've got the Play Like a Champion today placards up in the office. My license plate on my vehicle says 2EQLAST. Second equals last. Kind of a take on the Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah.
And, every deal we lose, we sit down. We spend more time on deals we lose and why we lost them than probably we do on deals that we win and how we won them.
Well, I love the 60-minute piece on you because I think it captured sort of the essence of you. Like you're like this head coach, and your focus is on creating a culture of winning. We're going to come back to that in a second, but I want to begin with the end in mind. So I want to show you one of the pictures, actually two pictures. Go ahead and show the first one, Kyle, now. This is a picture they showed. Show the other one, Kyle, first. Let's show the other one first. I like this broader view because what we're showing for our radio audience is a picture of, I think that's 4 or 5 ATVs running across an open field, essentially. And it's filled with representatives, economic development representatives, and executives from a Japanese manufacturer, which we'll talk about here in just a second. And go back to the first one you showed. I love this picture because one of the ATVs is being driven by Governor Bryant. That's a really powerful picture, and it culminates it's a great story that you tell about how you came to be competitive in this arena, from capturing the tail number off the jet to see who your competitors were going to be for the Yakutama plant, to even finding out what their shoe size was so you could get boots to them when they could do the site evaluation. But it really is a good case study about you and your team's approach to economic development there in the Golden Triangle, isn't it?
Yeah, and you referenced case study. Probably for the viewers to know, last week we did it. Harvard Business School has about 3 case studies on us that they teach in class. And last week, Macaulay Whitaker and I did it remotely this year. Every year we go up and teach a class at Harvard Business School, and the Yokohama project is one of the case studies that they talk about, and what we did and how we did it and the decisions we made. And then the students critique some of the decisions. And man, I tell you, it's eye-opening for me because, we got slammed last week over the fact that we spent $27,000 to have a Sikorsky 76 helicopter to fly the chairman around on his last visit. And, they were talking about how many families that could feed and all that. And, I listened to them for a while, and then I explained to them that right now we're feeding about 725 families over that $27,000 that got spent.
No doubt about it. Hey, you on that 60 Minutes piece, they said that you actually had more hard-edge business savvy than in Harvard MBA. But, I didn't know about this case study. I didn't know about the time you spent there. What a great opportunity to be surrounded by a lot of smart people and to learn other possibilities, isn't it?
Yeah, we participate in their Young American Leaders program. We speak at that, and we speak to their business school classes. The Young American Leaders, those are about 7 or 8 cities. I'm talking about like San Antonio and bigger places, that Chicago, that are in that class. And we go and teach, but we learn a lot from those teams.
I know you do. Hey, when we come back, we'll finish the thought about Harvard and the case studies, et cetera. I want to tell the Yucatama story because it's a terrific story. And then we're going to move back a little bit. I want to talk more about where did you came from Arkansas? What was it like growing up? What was your inspiration fuel as you were growing up? But this is Joe Max Higgins, and we'll be back after this break.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visit.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Joe Max Higgins with us. He's the CEO of essentially the Golden Triangle economic development efforts up in northeast Mississippi for sure. Now, look, I want to talk about where you came from. We're going to finish the story about the Yucatama story. We're going to talk about Harvard. But before we do that, I want to read this again, and I want you to tell me what this means to you. It was that quote I read at the beginning of the segment from Rick Godwin, and it said this: "One reason people resist change is because they focus on what they have to give up instead of what they have to gain." You know that well, don't you?
Yeah. And you know, in a lot of cases, Ricky, it's what they don't see what they have to gain. They just don't. When I came to Mississippi, it was kind of like, well, this is the way it is. And I said, well, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, I tell people around the state, I said, you know, everybody knows about Starkville because Mississippi State's there, but I said, you know, what was your thoughts of Columbus? And nobody ever really thought of Columbus as being on the map for job creation and leading the way or any of that. And I said, you know, I tell people when I got here, they had railroads, they had the waterway, they had big land, they had Mississippi State University right down the road. They had everything that if God could give it to you or man could build it, you were in about better shape than anywhere else I had ever been. But when I got here, I found out that there was a losing mentality. They couldn't see themselves winning. You know, Zig Ziglar always used to talk about him a while ago. He used to always say, you got to see yourself there. They couldn't see themselves there. They just couldn't do it. They, you know, and we started talking about hopes and dreams that we had for the region and what we could accomplish. And they were, you know, they would have been happy with a single or a double. They didn't realize that there was triples and grand slams in the world. And, you know, I will tell you this, and in a short period of time, they went from no expectation to a sense of entitlement. So they figured it out pretty quick. So now they're what you going to do next? What's next? What's next? You haven't done anything in a while, you know. So the pressure's gone up with those expectations going up.
Well, we all know from, you know, success is this is the way it is. You're only as good as your last performance, and you can never stop grinding to find the new level of success. But one of the things that was interesting about your story is that there was a mindset there, and it was a well-earned mindset because so much bad economic news had occurred, and there really had never been sort of this figure like you and in your team to come along and begin to align. In your case, I think you had 3 different counties that you're having to do business in. You got boards of supervisors and all these local municipalities. They had lowered the bar for so many years. And for you to suddenly come in there and say, I'm going to raise the bar, it was not an easy conversation, was it?
No, originally I started working just for Lowndes County and Columbus. And we started winning. And within a few years, West Point, Clay County actually came to us and said, hey, we'd like to join. And they joined, and right after they joined, Yokohama located. And then Starkville came and said, hey, we want to be on the team too. And it was kind of like the Blues Brothers, you know, putting the band back together of what probably should have been done originally of the 3 counties. Putting them together, but we've not worked for all 3 counties the entire 18 years. Most of those, at least most of those years, was just Lowndes County, and then in the last 7-8 years, all 3 counties.
It's a fascinating journey. I saw a speech that you gave where a senator came up to you and said, "Hey, look, you know, just act like you know what you're doing. You know, I know it's going to be tough." And then you looked at him and said, "Wait a minute, I'm working this deal with thousands of jobs," and tell that story.
Now that was Senator Terry Brown. I mean, he's recently, or not recently, but passed away since, and a bigger than life character in physically and in emotion and spirit. And he came in one day wearing flip flops and shorts, and he said, "I know we're not going to get any damn projects locating in here. Once that NAFTA got signed, all them jobs gone to Mexico." He said, "All I'm going to ask you to do, boy, is act like you're trying." And I had a 3-ring binder with a 1,200 job project that we were working. I said, "Well, Terry, I think we can win." And he said, "What?" And I said, "Well, look at this deal that I've just put together." And then I showed him 2 or 3 more. And he said, "Do you mean you think we can win?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "What I need to do?" I mean, but he had already decided that, when NAFTA got signed, and I said it's the cut and sew, the widget and squidget, the clip and snip stuff's gone, but that's not what we need to be looking at. We need to be looking at high cap investment, high paying jobs, fewer jobs, and really raise the bar, generate more taxes for the schools and the cities and counties, and more pay for the people. And it didn't take Terry long to get on board. Probably Harry Sanders, the supervisor in Lowndes County, was the first one that figured it out. And then shortly thereafter, the other elected officials got on board. So, it didn't take as long. I will tell you this. When I first got here, I went to a Rotary Club and I gave visions and all this. And, the old men were back there sleeping like they do, drooling, some of them drooling. And, let him try. The inciting incident, though, was when we got the first certified mega site. And we certified it in the summer. In October, we had the steel mill come in. And in January, we had a deal. And that probably changed everybody's thinking, because we were the first certified mega site in TVA's 80,000 square miles. We got a tenant that is just gotten so large. I mean, their direct investment's over $2 billion, not counting their campus partners. But that thing started I tell people that we started walking upright. We started believing we could win. That happened right after Airbus or Eurocopter, as they were well known. Up until that time, I think this region thought, well, we make blue jeans, we make dimensional lumber for furniture, we make toilet seats, all things you need, but not any of those very sexy. And then we started making helicopters, things that fly, that people fly in. And all of a sudden, we started walking upright. We started feeling more self-confident. And then when the steel mill came, it was just kind of, wow, we're on our way. And within just months of the steel mill coming, Peterbilt Kenworth's parent company, PACCAR, came in. And, it's kind of like that batter that goes at the plate that's on the street. The ball looks like a basketball and just knocking it out of the park, at every turn. So it really changed this area. It really did.
You had, nearly $8 billion in investments, 15,000 jobs, well over 100 economic development projects. The list goes on and on. But I want to come back, because Sara Lee Hog Processing is a really interesting case study, because it employed so many people, I think over 2,000 jobs. And then it created a moment where people could say, okay, how is the job market going to change dramatically? What you always understood was that manufacturing in America was not dead. It's just it was going to be different. High tech was going to be sort of the name of the game going forward. But Sara Lee was really kind of a clarion call for you to go on a mission, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was, and during those times, you had Sara Lee that closed, you had Artex that closed, you had B&W that closed, you had Flexible Flour that closed. You had a lot of closures in those industries, and you talk about people that influenced you. Years ago, there was a mayor of Jackson, Tennessee. He was a lawyer, and he was mayor of Jackson, Tennessee, and I had a consulting business, and I was calling on him. And I was trying to get some work, obviously. And I said, Mayor, what can I do to help you be successful? And he said, Joe, what I need either was Lee or Levi's, the blue jean plant. He said, I need Lee or Levi, whichever one it was. He said, I need them to close. I said, well, Mayor, they work several hundred people. I've never heard an elected official in my life talk about needing a plant to close. And he said, well, you don't understand, Joe Max. He said, we've got a new Divix plant that's coming in, and they're going to pay $3 or $4 more an hour that those ladies can make rather than sewing blue jeans. Divix was DVD. It was a company that imprinted the labels and the movies on for Blockbuster and those kind of things. That's how dated it was. Mm-hmm. And he said, but I need those ladies to lose their jobs at the blue jean plant, be retrained, and go to work at the Divix plant making $3, $4, or $5 more an hour. Because he said, you don't understand. I can't run my town the way I want to run it on minimum wage jobs.
Wow. That's a very compelling message. And certainly that's the big lesson that we learned studying what's happening in the Golden Triangle. But coming back to the Yokohama tire story, I can see why Harvard has this as kind of a case study, because in your case, you were I don't know if I should say ruthless competitor, but you got the tail number off the jet. You were tracking it to see who your competitors were. You studied, I think in the story from 60 Minutes, you actually rode your motorcycle over to Arkansas. You discovered that you needed to build a substation, electric substation, so you could drive the price of power down. Why don't we do this? We're coming to the end of this second segment. I want to hear what you have to say, and I don't want to cut you off. But why don't we do this? We'll come back and you can tell why this was a kind of a significant story. And it tells a lot about you as a competitor and the fact that you're not taking any plays off the table and why that's important. But this is Joe Max Higgins. He's the CEO of the Golden Triangle Economic Development Effort, and we'll be back after this break.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast Vue on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking very hard-to-find PPE items to make our community a safer place. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. They were even sending thousands of dollars of PPE supplies free to local schools in need with help from other local business leaders. The next time your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider a local company that supports your ball teams, cheerleaders, and area homeless. Consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply, the local guys that keep your prices fair, your service and selection excellent, and your health our business. Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter. Has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard. And,
wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute.
Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show
on SuperTalk Mississippi. Whether you're brand new to the DIY craze or a seasoned veteran, the Handyman Show has something for you. Buddy Slowick shares tips and tricks on everything from odd jobs to complete build-outs, from small home repairs to serious construction. So no matter if you're at the master carpenter level or not quite sure how to use a level, the Handyman Show answers your questions with a healthy dose of humor and some great music too. Saturdays, 10 to noon on SuperTalk Mississippi and on SuperTalk TV.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Matthews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota, Gulf Coast Business Supply, and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Welcome back to Coast View. I have Joe Max Higgins, who's the Economic Development CEO for the Golden Triangle in Mississippi. And when we went to break, I want to kind of get a sense of how doggedly determined this guy is to win. That's what he has to do. In the wake of the Sara Lee closing, you went on a mission with PACCAR, and that's the one where you got on your motorcycle and went over to Arkansas. But talk about what you did in that case.
Well, and again, the town that we were competing with was Jonesboro, Arkansas. That's where I went to school, to college, Arkansas State. I was the economic developer 15 minutes north of there when I came to Mississippi. So I knew Jonesboro as a product, but I wanted to see the site that they were looking at. But Ed McCallum, who was with the consulting firm on that project, McCallum Sweeney, said, "Hey, you're competing very well, but you're $1 million a year behind on two things." Electrical power cost and ad valorem taxes. And if you don't figure out a way to close the gap, I'm not sure you're gonna be able to be picked. And what PACCAR was asking for is for 30 megawatts to be built in a substation dedicated for them, but they only wanted to contract initially for 15. So the electric cooperative had to put 30 in there, only get paid for 15. They had a facilities charge they were going to have to charge. And that was driving our cost up. So I went and looked at, and they were ready to go in Jonesboro. That was the purpose of the trip. The power was there. So I came back and I asked the question to the supervisors and to our lawyers, could the county contribute part of the cost of that substation so that the electric co-op didn't have to charge facilities charge? The answer was yes, yes, and yes. So Lowndes County contributed about half the cost, about $1.8 million is my memory, towards the cost of that substation and drove the cost down. Then we looked at a much not used very often road. I think it was used on It was used on Toyota, and it was used on Nissan, I think. A rolling 30-year fee in lieu. 10 years was the normal deal. We asked to include that in the legislation, the Major Impact Authority legislation. And those two things, we didn't get right to the $1 million, but those two things got us down to almost a push, and then we won the deal. If we'd just done what everybody normally does, is, well, that's the electricity rate, and you've got to pay that, I think we would have lost the deal.
So you had to be innovative. You had to be creative. You had to be competitive. You had to always think in terms of competitive advantage. And in the case of Yokohama, the tire company that you guys were able to attract, I love the picture of Governor Bryant, driving one of the ATVs in this open field. And is it true that you looked for shoe sizes of the executives and the whole 9 yards?
Yeah, that was near the end of the project, and it had rained a lot, and we didn't know if they were going to get out on the site, and so we actually bought galoshes that fit over. Those Japanese executives were wearing $3,500 pair of shoes, and when we got there, before they got in the helicopter, they put their galoshes on, so if they wanted to walk around the site, they wouldn't ruin their shoes. But yeah, shoe sizes. We put Yokohama tires on every vehicle that they would see or touch or ride in. Just kind of really trying to put our best foot forward. We had a tent set up on the site with heating in it, with storyboards, because it's hard to show a PowerPoint. So we had storyboards so that we could show the chairman where the site was. We had some, we knew we had to connect with him emotionally. To win the project. We knew we had to make sure he saw himself being there. So what we did is, as I told him, I said, Sara Lee has closed, and Sara Lee was being demolished at the time. Looked like a tornado hit it, but it was a demolition company doing it. And I said, sir, 4 or 5 generations of this community have served and worked for Sara Lee. If you pick West Point, you can expect the same loyalty and 4 or 5 generations to work for you. You, sir, could be the phoenix coming up out of the ash for this community in this region. And this guy, man, and the Chairman Nagumo looked like he looked like he could be the head of United Nations. I mean, gray hair, slightly over his ears, well dressed, well educated, and he looked at me and he said, "I want to see this Sara Lee." So when we took off in the helicopter, we went around, and I was in the cheap seat, so I was riding backwards, facing him almost knee to knee, and we banked, and we flew around Sara Lee 2.5 times, and he nodded to me. Then we left to go to Mississippi State and land. That's when we won the project.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't tell me that. Nobody else told me that. But I'm telling you, I'm 60 years old. I know people. I've been around. I've seen body language. That's when we won the project. He saw himself being the phoenix coming up out of the ash, and he saw that being a location that he needed to be.
Hey, Joe Max, I remember in my career, there was a video that we showed that was a group of semiconductor employees from America who went over to Japan. And they were walking, I think, in downtown Tokyo, and they came across a guy who was shining shoes. And one of the guys said, "Didn't you know in America that this is a second-class job?" And the man looks at him and said, "Oh, no. Through an interpreter, he says that if the shoe's not shining, the leg doesn't feel good. The leg doesn't feel good. The body doesn't feel good. The body doesn't feel good. You can't think well in your mind. There's a direct relationship between shiny shoes and your ability to think." I mean, just an amazingly and cultural discovery moment for the people that were there. But there's a lot to that, and you sort of understanding culturally why that's an important conversation. The point of putting the galoshes on the shoes was more than just they were expensive shoes. It's important to them not to get their shoes muddy.
Yeah, and we had the hot little moist towels for them to wipe their hands. We had hot green tea in the tent. All things that we knew would show them, that we cared about them and that they were welcome.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Hey, so when you think about, so let's shift gears for a minute. The sky's the limit for Mississippi. What holds us back? If you think about it, I mean, I know the Delta, we got to figure that out. We have to really, as a set of communities across the state, get our heads around the new economy and where it's going and how to attract a creative class, all of those things. But Isn't the sky the limit for Mississippi, Joe Max?
Yeah, well, it can be. Okay, there's no guarantee. It can be. The sky can be the limit. Probably the greatest thing holding us back, quite frankly, is, in my opinion, is the stereotypes that the world puts on Mississippi. And anytime we do something that reinforces those stereotypes, we don't take steps forward, we take steps backward. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest, I've done some speeches where I told people that people expect the women to be barefoot and pregnant, the men to have no teeth and chewing tobacco. They expect that the white people are burning crosses in the black people's yards on Saturday night for fun. Okay. Yeah. And you live here and I live here. And quite frankly, there may be an extremely small percentage that might fit those stereotypes, but most people don't and wouldn't do any of that. And I can't name 10 of my best friends that chew tobacco. Okay, so that's what's holding us back. And then sometimes I think our inability to look forward and see what can happen if we'll work together and cooperate, what can actually be accomplished. And So the stereotypes, I think, are holding us back, and our lack of visioning is holding us from moving forward.
I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying a few minutes ago, that there are some people who expect sort of immediate returns, and they don't realize, or maybe they do realize it, but don't want to accept the fact that oftentimes economic development projects, especially the kind of big projects you've been involved in, you have to have the art of the long deal, and it takes a lot of patience. And you got to keep people aligned during this whole journey, because you never know when you might have to make adjustments in the plan to make the overall plan more attractive to whoever it is you're trying to allure here. But so that's one thing. We're not focused enough, probably as a set of communities across the state, on the maybe 1, 2, or 3 or 4 important things that we can do right now that will make a difference. Your point about perception is definitely true. I had the opportunity to leave beyond Mississippi. I saw those perceptions all the time. But here's the interesting thing: when people come here and they see it for themselves, they almost always conclude, this is not what I expected to see. The people here are so amazing. The people here aren't like that. The people here are smart. The people here care. They're empathetic. In fact, it's interesting. Isn't it interesting that the one thing that is our biggest detriment, the perception about us, often is turned around. It's sort of like the yin yang Chinese symbol. Often it's turned around. It's our best quality, our people. Oh, yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Oh yeah. If we can get you here and having an adequate amount of time to answer your questions about your project and your slide and all that, and then show the communities, we generally we'll make the finals. We generally don't have a problem with that. It's the ones that cut us at the desktop that kills us.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Hey, we're having a conversation with Joe Max Higgins. He's the CEO of the Golden Triangle Economic Development Effort. He's widely known. He's been written about. He's been on 60 Minutes. He's had a lot of success up there. He has a lot to teach about passion. When we come back, we'll have the last segment with Joe Max and just kind of have a little bit of a light and fire round. We'll be back after this segment.
You can also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, casinoradio1063.com.
Hey South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the J. Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Del Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera slips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute.
Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi. Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast Vue with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
And gaming that goes on in between. What's your view of coastal Mississippi in terms of the role we play to the total state?
Well, you know, I gave a speech to the Madison Business League a couple of years ago, and I identified the regions of the state that I think can consistently grow. Okay. Unfortunately, everybody can't consistently grow. It's just not in the cards. Only about 6 regions that can. I told them in Madison, and I'll tell you and your listeners and viewers that in my opinion, the 6 coast counties, that's the 3 that are on the water and the 3 that are north of them. I believe if you could ever put together a regional concept and market that area together, all the attributes, all the good things, all the fun stuff together, probably that would probably be the biggest economic development force that Mississippi would have in its arsenal. More than the Jackson metro area, more than us. more than Tupelo, Oxford, or more than even the outskirts of Memphis in Marshall and DeSoto counties. I really, 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 truly believe that because I think some of the good sites are probably in the 3 northern counties. I think the people that would work in the facilities probably live in the 3 southern counties and beyond. But I'm on record of saying that I think that's probably the area that could win the biggest, the most consistently in our state if a concentrated effort and a plan were put in place. You're doing well right now, but I think there's still exponentially more upside.
Yeah, I agree that maybe a regional effort would be a lot more collaboration around the big players might be something that could benefit us. But you really focused on making your place a better place. You talk about that all the time. You expect that of your people. And why does that drive you so hard?
Well, I mean, look, I go all over the country speaking. I mean, California, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Chicago, all over. And I tell everybody, I said, at the end of the day, nobody in the world really ever cares about your place. If you don't care about your place, nobody else is really going to care about it. And if you're going to live somewhere, if you're going to work somewhere, if you're going to raise a family somewhere, you owe it to yourself to make it be the best place you can make it be. It might not be perfect, but if you see a piece of trash in the parking lot, pick it up, throw it away. Little things. I just think that if you're going to live somewhere, nobody wants to live in a cesspool or a septic tank. And everybody can't live in utopia, but man, you need to be in the middle working towards utopia if you can.
Well, in Mississippi, to be successful, you have to be a relentless, let me just say, lobbyist. You have to stay incredibly well connected. I love in the 60-minute piece, they said that you could twist an arm or kill you with kindness. But that's kind of true about you, though, and it's important that you bring those skills to the table, isn't it?
Yeah, look, we always try to do it the easy way. Hey, let me show you what can happen. Do it. If it doesn't, we're not afraid to pull out the baseball bat and whack a few heads if we need to.
So, how did you coin the phrase "live every day like your ass is on fire"?
Well, actually, Gordon Flowers, which is an attorney, is an attorney. He's one of my past chairmen. Went somewhere, I want to say New Orleans. He was at a conference or something, and he brought me the bumper sticker back, and he said, I've never seen anything that embodies who I think you are and what makes you tick than this. And that's how he is my friend and my past chairman, as he viewed me. And I said, I told some people, they said, you ought to put that on your signature. And I said, I think I will.
So you grew up in Arkansas. You've been here for a number of years, but where did your inspiration fuel come from?
I grew up, my mother was a banker. My daddy was a salesman, which was also sheriff in our town for a while. And my stepfather was mayor of Paragould, where we live. So I was around politics and business and banking my whole life. I played sports in high school. I did what I guess normal kids do. I went to Boys State. So when I got out, I went to Arkansas State and I majored in Lambda Chi Alpha. Okay. And Jonesboro was dry, and I made damn sure that it stayed dry. Everything we could find to drink, we did. And I flunked out of school. And my dad said, son, college isn't for everybody. You need to get a job. And I went offshore and started working and decided that wasn't really what I wanted to do. And a couple of years went back, went to school, and got on with my career.
Well, that's good. And look, we'll visit again because I'm still curious about where your inspirational fire comes from these days. But I think it's probably just the sense of competitiveness and this dogged determination you have to improve the sense of place there in your Golden Triangle. But we're out of time for today, Joe Max. It's been a pleasure getting to know you better, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Thank you for inviting me.
This has been Joe Max Higgins, who's the CEO of the Golden Triangle Economic Development Area of the Starkville, West Point, Columbus area, and now a good friend to Coast Vue. We'll have him back on in the future. Talk to you later. Have a great day.